Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where I talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Once Upon a Time. Another great episode. A lot of stuff went down in this episode. Let's break everything down bit by bit. In this episode, we kind of finally learned a little bit more about why everything that's happened to Cinderella has happened. It seems it's not just like, it wasn't just, the prince killing her dad. Actually, it seems like Victoria is the one who actually planned it out. We also we get introduced to Tiana, Princess Tiana. She's Jacinda's friend underneath the curse and everything, which is like, I think I pointed that out last episode because someone pointed out like, oh, Tiana's supposed to be in the show, and I'm like, right, I figured out who she was, like, just by because I knew she was a princess, like in the background of like when Henry and Cinderella met up again at the balls hall. So nevertheless, that's me going further than I need to. It's just, I had a feeling that that's who she was supposed to be. Interestingly enough, it seems like she's actually leading the resistance. She hasn't really dove too deeply into her own situation. So I'm curious, like, obviously this whole being a Disney property and everything, it must be like, this story must take place like in the aftermath of The Princess and the Frog, which is crazy. I have not watched it in a while. I really like that movie. It's just I haven't seen it in a long while, so I remember certain aspects of it. So I'm assuming this takes place after that, much like back in season 4 of Frozen. Like all the stuff about Frozen took place after the movie, so I'm assuming this is it. So whatever the case may be, she's here as the leader of the resistance, trying to stop Victoria. And it's so crazy when you actually think about it, just breaking it down. Like, the evil queen is the evil queen. She has, like, powerful magic. So, like, her being the main antagonist of something, like her being the big baddie of, like, the Enchanted Forest, I can get. But it's so weird to think about Victoria, the evil stepmother of Cinderella. But then again, I mean, you put anyone with enough influence and power in a certain position, throw a little magic their way. It's like anyone evil enough can cause a little devastation. But obviously, going back to what I was going to bring up earlier, it's affecting matters. We find out why this is all happening. It's happening because Victoria hates Cinderella. For what particular reason, we don't. I mean, it seems like it's connected to her other daughter, Anastasia, or it might be Anastasia. I forgot how they actually properly pronounce it. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. But nevertheless, it seems like her daughter died a long time ago. But using magic, she kept her final. Victoria kept her final breath in. So the box that Cinderella obviously recognized when Tiana showed her the picture, but didn't say anything. I was like, okay, this must have something to do with her dad. At first, I was like, oh, it looks like a box. Oh, don't tell me some coffin that's got her dad in it. It's like, no, close, but it's like the coffin that has her stepsister in it. It's like, what went down, like, in that regard to make that led to him in that situation? Like, all Victoria's been doing is getting revenge against the woman she blames for her. Because Cinderella says it herself that her dad was killed because Victoria blamed him for what happened. But it's like, no, now like the blame is on me. And now she needs a heart of someone of pure heart. In this case, Henry, because she did a little research on Henry. And it's like, need his heart to bring back her daughter and everything. Very familiar to another certain character's story. A need for revenge, an accident happening. It's like, I love what they're doing with this. It's like, it's paying homage and kind of like a new twist on like what we've kind of seen already with like a certain story. Like, this is kind of Regina's story, but kind of from different character and a different perspective. Even to the point, I think that's what's going to be so amazing about having Regina here, because she can give like that experience. She's been in both Cinderella's position as well as Victoria's position, because she was Victoria at one point in time, because she's like, the need, like, it's like, oh, bringing back someone you love. Like, Regina knows that better than anyone, because, she tried to bring back Daniel, but, that didn't work out. When, like, she was quote unquote successful with it, but it didn't work to the extent that she thought it would. And she spent most of her life wanting revenge against Snow. Like, that's what started this lifelong vendetta. And so she knows from personal experience, like, and like I said, I love that their position, like, that's what makes her being here even more powerful, because she was once the evil queen and she is where she is now. Because that was what I brought up before. It's like, that's what Once Upon a Time does so beautifully. It goes, okay, you understand your villains. It's not like, oh, this person is pure, unadulterated evil. It's like, no, there's a reason they ended up the way they did. Even like, you take someone, even like last season, the Black Fairy. The reason why the Black Fairy became the way she did was to protect her son, and ended up becoming the ultimate evil that he was supposed to be destined to defeat anyway. So it's just sad turn of events. And it's like, whatever went down between Cinderella and Anastasia we'll hopefully find out soon enough, but it seems like it was an accident. It's not something, I mean, like I said, we'll just have to wait to find out the exact nature around that. You even had the whole thing of Cinderella couldn't take Henry's heart. Like, she needed to, but she couldn't. So she's going to take another dude. His name is Jeremiah. He's a cobbler, which is interesting. But nevertheless, she's going to take his heart because he believes so wholeheartedly in this resistance and believing that they can stop all this. And his heart would be next. But Regina, luckily enough, stopped her. And she's like, well, isn't it okay to do a little bad for a little good? And Regina's like, she had to learn the hard way. She learned, and it took her a long time to learn it. But no, it doesn't make it right. Because ultimately what it comes down to, and I think Regina will kind of agree, it's the fact of the matter is, once you go down that path, you'll keep crossing that line more and more. You're like, oh, well, I'll push the line a little. This is for good. This is for this reason. This is for that reason. And you'll push that line further and further about how far you will cross to do something. And eventually you'll lose your way, you know? The best example of that is Rumpelstiltskin. Why did he become the Dark One? Because he wanted his son to love him, to protect his son, and it ended up turning him into one of the most notorious people ever. Like, oh, you don't want to ever make a deal with Rumpelstiltskin, or just like, you don't want to cross him. So it's like, this whole situation's a double-edged sword, and Regina helps stop her from going down that path. It's kind of interesting when you break it down, because it's like, obviously knowing who they are and everything, knowing that Regina's Henry's mom and everything, and knowing that Cinderella's going to be his wife and the mother of his daughter, it's like, oh, mom stepping in to talk to her daughter-in-law. It's like, it's so crazy when you think about it like that. And it's so good that they're establishing that relationship already immediately, that bond, like them covering for each other and understanding each other. And I just think that was so beautifully done. Even the reflection of it with Ronnie giving Jacinda advice. Because Jacinda worked hard, got all those petitions signed, but then she burned them because Victoria offered her, like, oh, I can give you this place with you and Lucy. And it's like, hey, at the end of the day, like, you'll be together. That's all that really matters, right? And she burned them. I was kind of hoping she wouldn't, but she did, because for her, it's like, I don't care what I have to do. As long as I get to be with my daughter, I don't care. But for Lucy, it's like, you're a hero. You're supposed to do the right thing. And this isn't the right thing, because for Lucy, it's like, this isn't just about me. This is about everyone. You know, it's like, you're a hero. And for you to do that, it just, you know, kind of broke her heart and everything. So it's like, if you're willing to do this to be with me, it's like, I can't, maybe I don't want to be with you, mom, you know? Because it's like, in her mind, she has an image of like, oh, her mom is Cinderella, she's honorable, she's the hero, and a hero wouldn't do that. A hero would do the right thing. The fact of the matter is, though, people make mistakes, especially because it's like, she's a caring woman that just wants to take care of her daughter. So you can't fault her for that. I mean, the fact of the matter is, you know, that just goes back to showing you how persuasive and manipulative Victoria is. I also appreciate in this episode the reflection of like obviously she's trying to build those condos on the garden that Lucy's helping grow flowers, and she's actually looking for something underground. And Lucy references like when Henry was trying to take when he took Archie into the mines in season 1, and Regina did whatever she could to kind of cover up the real truth behind everything. So once again, that mirror reflection of things, I just like that element of them doing it, you know, with their own little twist. It seems like what she was hiding down below was her Anastasia's body, which turns out, interestingly enough, as I figure, I'm not surprised. She remembers. No surprise there. It does seem like Rumpel has no idea. Not unless he's playing the extremely long game, but it seems like even he doesn't remember. He kind of worked his way through like the original curse Regina made, but like every other subsequent curse that's ever been placed. I think the Black Fairy one, he never like, I don't think he ever like completely submitted to that curse either, if I remember. Yeah, he never did, because that was why Henry went to him, because it was like, yeah, you weren't affected by the curse, everyone else is. So but every other subsequent curse he's been a part of. So it seems like whatever this curse was, I'm sure Victoria made it, because the fact of the matter is she remembers, much like Regina did with her original curse. So that must mean, which means I wonder how does she go about this? Because also, when you actually think about it too, it's like, this curse, like, to start the curse, you have to take the heart of the person you love most. Like, for Regina to start the curse, she used her dad's heart So whose heart did Victoria use? Not unless it's a different spell and everything. So, all right, really quickly, I'm just gonna throw this in there just because I do it every so often. I didn't realize this, but I kind of had a feeling like I recognized the actor who plays Henry. His name is Andrew W. I mean, yeah, Andrew, not Andrew J. West. I apologize. And I was like, why do I feel like I know you from something? It might be other stuff, but then one thing in particular I remember him from is like I looked at him and was like, oh, he was in Walking Dead. He was the leader of that group that plays was it Terminus or Tartarmus? I don't remember. It's the cannibal people that Rickett and his group met in like season four's finale, but they popped up in season five, like kind of like in the beginning parts of the season. It's like he was the leader of that cannibal group. I was like, right. And then Dania Ramirez, the actress who plays Cinderella or Yacinda, I recognize her from something else, and it wasn't until I was looking up something else for something, well, else. I ended up because she played Maya in Heroes. I was like, right, because I did a video about Skylar. I'm not going to go too deeply into it, but I totally forgotten about that aspect of like, oh yeah, there was something between them. I obviously was manipulating her and everything, but she had like the poison ability. Her eyes would turn black and she'd kill people. That was like her power. And I'd almost completely forgot about her. And I was like, right. I felt so douchey about that. I'd like completely forgotten about the character, but I think that's what I remember her from. There's probably other stuff too. But that was just something I had to really quickly bring up. So, but getting back to what I was bringing up about like Rumpel not having an idea, the fact of the matter is, it does seem like he has some angle in all this because obviously Killian is all doing some investigating. He ends up finding a construction committee guy who basically is getting paid off by Victoria to do what he needs to do. They basically skate around a lot of the red tape and blah blah blah, so she can do what she's doing, building all these condos and stuff like that, which is like an ulterior of what she was really doing and was looking for her daughter's body, which actuality, now that I think about it, I guess that kind of represents, because someone informed me, because I completely missed her name, but Drizel, the other stepsister, the one believe Adeline Kane, it makes you wonder what kind of relationship they have. Like, it's kind of been brought up to your attention that she's not as bad as her mom. She tries to pretend that she is, but it seems like she's probably a little more reluctant about a lot of stuff than Victoria's. To be fair, Victoria's kind of driven by hate and revenge, so it's like that's one motive. But the fact of the matter is, her daughter in this world is her secretary. So I guess that also shows you, like, it's not like she was even 100%. Maybe she wasn't 100% kind to Gisela either. Maybe it's because it's like Anastasia was like the oldest amongst the sisters, and she was the one that was loved. And the fact of the matter is, after her mom lost her heart grew cold, and maybe, I don't know, it's just kind of interesting that she would make her daughter in this curse just some Joe Schmo. She wouldn't even make her daughter remember who she was or is. So it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of interesting. Like, she wouldn't find some loophole to make it so that her daughter could remember. I don't remember if there's like a loophole in the curse that can make it so that more than one person remembers. I mean, well, to be fair, Henry remembers in the curse that the Black Fairy made, and so did the Black Fairy, so more than one person can remember if, like, circumstances are right. So, but nevertheless, getting back to what I was saying about, because Weaver, like, the whole Killian's doing the thing he's doing, but Weaver went behind his back and released the dude, but it was all for the purpose of, like, hey, he goes out there, and the moment, like, Victoria contacts him, he'll contact me. So it's like, basically when you're playing this game, you got to play smarter. And it's like, and I think the whole situation leaves Killian a little conflicted, because he has his ideas of like who Weaver is, like, oh, you're a bad guy. And ultimately it's kind of like, that's kind of Rumpel's character in a nutshell in the past 6 seasons. It's like he's been so conflicted, because you see moments of him being a good guy, other moments of him being a bad guy. So it's hard to tell which side he like lands on in the grand scheme of things. But the fact of the matter is, like, it's hard to say whether he's doing this for like, oh, just his reason, like, oh, I'm trying to help take down Victoria. Me, immediately my brain kind of, you know, the cynic inside of me is like, nah, he's doing this for his own reasons, because he's already said it before. He's only working with Victoria because their goals align. But the moment that it ceases to be, like, he's ready to break that partnership. So this has to be leveraged for the future. He can blackmail Victoria to get what he wants. That's where my mindset is on that. So, I mean, I don't know. Could it be the potential of him doing something good about it in the grand scheme of things? I don't know. That also begs a question, like, how did he get mixed up in all this? Because the last time once again, Alice was sent by, you know, Rumpel, because Rumpel's been keeping an eye on Henry, but now his mom's there with him, as well as, you know, Killian from The Wish. So it's like, how did he get mixed up on all this? That must mean at some point in time he crossed paths with Henry and Regina and Killian to kind of be caught up in this spell. So, but under what circumstances did he decide to come, or not unless they called him in because they needed, Darkwing's help, Also, I want to talk about something that was kind of like super sad about this episode too, is because it's a situation where you had Henry being so close to believing that, like, Lucy was like, I was originally going to give this slipper piece, from her mom's slipper to her mom, but she was like, my mom doesn't need it anymore because she's already starting to believe. Because for Lucy, what she wanted more so than anything was her mom to fight. And the fact is her mom was standing up and fighting against Victoria, like, said a lot. Because prior to this, her mom had just kind of like not willingly accepted, but it's just like she didn't have that fire in her to fight, but now she does. Like I said, Victoria kind of manipulated her to kind of back down, but she came back like full like of energy and burning brighter than ever when she kind of rallied everyone together and it's like, no, we're going to build something beautiful. Like, Victoria has her plans and everything, but we won't let her have her way. And we're just going to take this place and we're going to build something so beautiful together, so uniting everyone in Hyperion Heights. So, but the point what I was about to say is Lucy gave the piece of slipper to Henry. It's like, no matter what, the fact of the matter is, I know you're starting to believe, And so Henry goes back and finds the graves. The graves of his wife, Lauren, and his daughter, Abigail. I'm like, dude, it's like you're doing such a good job, because it's like the curse was failing a little bit, but I guess Victoria found a way to kind of re-push it, to make it so that Henry wouldn't believe. Or maybe it's just because the curse is acting upon Henry's heart of doubt. Because his heart is filled with doubt, it manifested itself in that, because there is some small part of him that still wanted to believe in that daughter, like that life, not wanting to believe what Lucy says. Even though it does seem like there's a bit part of him that wants to believe, maybe there's a small enough part of him. I mean, he is like, maybe his aspects as being the author, like, it's kind of affecting the world because for the graves to disappear like that and now reappear makes me think either Victoria had a hand in it, or maybe it's just Henry himself. Because let's not forget, I feel like his author abilities wouldn't just seep out like that. He needs to write them down for them to really activate. But maybe now that he's older, maybe like underneath this curse, his powers are going a little haywire. Maybe, I don't know. But I was like, oh, he was so close to believing. But it seems like it would have been, because I feel like Victoria wouldn't want that, because she wouldn't need him to. Well, I guess it plays into what she wanted anyway, because Henry doesn't believe. Remember, she needed his heart, but it's like now she could get Lucy's, but Lucy's is protected. I'm sure, like, it got enchanted before this all happened, Probably sometime after, like, Lucy was born, Victoria probably came after her heart. It's like, nope. So they guarded it. What they need to do, though, is destroy her belief. Much like Henry's belief was kind of the strength for Emma, like, Lucy's the foundation for all of this. You destroy her belief, you destroy everything else. So slowly but surely, Victoria's slowly trying to destroy everything. I mean, that's also kind of a thing, too. And I think that's something interesting you have to think about. It's kind of the same thing with Regina, like how Regina did a lot of stuff, like I said, kind of like manipulated and made Henry seem like he was crazy, even though she herself knew the truth. But it's like all that, like, you claim to love Henry and stuff like that, but her own darkness in her heart wouldn't allow her to, like, let go of, like, her need to just rub it in everyone's face. Get my revenge. Yeah, everything's going my way. This is my quote unquote happy ending, my happily ever after. So maybe the same thing applies to Victoria, that she's so caught up in her own daughter situation, Anastasia, that she's not paying attention to Giselle or even, Lucy, because maybe when she looks at Lucy, all she sees is Cinderella, the woman that took away her daughter. So her hatred for Cinderella kind of maybe works the same way maybe maybe that's kind of how things kind of work for Regina too. Maybe subconsciously that's why she treated Henry kind of the way she did. I mean, more so than any of that, that was just kind of to keep her quote-unquote perfect world together. So I don't think it was exactly like that. Maybe read too deeply into it, think too much about it. Like I am, maybe so, but I don't know. I feel like that might be the direction Victoria has, but, maybe on some level she does care about Lucy, because Lucy is still technically her granddaughter, her step-granddaughter, sure, but still. That actually says a lot, too, that you get close to somebody and you kind of pretend to love them and then you have them killed. She got close to her Cinderella's dad and just killed him. So that's, like I said, that says a lot. But then you also have the lady that she has captured in her, well, in that area, kind of chained up. Who is she? Is that supposed to be like her mom? Maybe in some past life that was her own fairy godmother that, you know, maybe grew dark and twisted the moment she did. Because it's kind of interesting because she's like basically saying like, oh yeah, you want to try, but ultimately you not. He's like, because, you know, Victoria's like, I'm not afraid of anything. And the lady's like, you should be. Basically saying that it seems like she has it figured out that basically when and ultimately Victoria gets everything she wants, she's like, I will be there basically to challenge you. So I'm thinking something like, basically when it's all said and done, trying to get Anastasia back, she won't, like I said, use the example of Daniel. No, that situation when Daniel didn't work out, came back almost like a zombie and stuff like that. Like I said, didn't work out the way Regina did. And maybe with this Anastasia situation, it might end up even worse. You know, so it seems like that's what it's alluding to, that the moment Victoria does this, some great darkness is going to be released. And I mean, because that's a thing. Like nothing in, like when it comes to magic, nothing's for free. There is always a price to pay. And I don't know, it's a situation where it seems like Victoria thinks she's ready to pay that price, but when the time comes, we'll see. Like I said, a great episode. I'm so interested to see what the next episode has in store for us. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.